Broke Ride Media.
You're now listening to The Straight Shooter Show with your host, The Straight Shooter.
All right. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us on The Straight Shooter Show. We'll start the show off with a topic that's really been heavy on my heart this week, primarily from talking to people through DMs in my TikTok or even just a few people in my real life that I've talked to. And it's been something that I've said for years, but I want to go over it because it seems to be a big deal this week. Is if you want to be in a marriage, especially I don't care what age you are, but I'm primarily talking to younger people, high school, college, 20s, even 30s. If you want to be in a marriage, you have to be a husband or a wife now. You need to be preparing yourself for that. You cannot give somebody something based on whether or not you're married. Either you are or you aren't. You got to give yourself freely who you are. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I just keep hearing these people, primarily men, they're like, she says she'll change or she'll do this for me or she'll do that for me if I marry her. And I'm like, well, that's bullshit. That's just bullshit. She's not. If she's not going to do that for you right now, marrying her is not going to change her. And furthermore, why would she want to marry you? Because you are husband material, because you go to work, because you provide, because you are, emotional, you communicate, you have the characteristics of a husband. You're giving her all of that now. So why would you have to wait until after marriage to get those wife qualities from her? And I'm not saying it's always the guy, but it's just typically women that are, holding out at, well, if you marry me. Men don't normally say that. But some guys will even be like, well, she ain't my wife. I'm not going to do that for her. No, you can't have that attitude. If you want to be in a marriage ever, you have to be preparing yourself to be a husband or wife and then be that. Show your significant other who you are and not who you're going to be. Don't promise who you're going to be. You got to show them who you are and then maintain that after you get married. Don't show them a fake you. Don't show them who they want until you get married and then change on them. Be genuine from beginning to end. Show them who you are. And I've said it 100 times. If they don't like who you are, then let them find somebody else, because you don't want to be in a marriage with somebody who doesn't like who you genuinely are. So that's what I got for today. Be genuine. Show them who you are. Prepare to be a spouse. All right.
Yeah, it's tough too, because especially what I notice is people go long periods of time without a significant other, and then they find that one person that's interested in them, and it's hard not to pretend like to be that person that you think that person wants in the beginning, because you just want someone. You don't care who it is.
Right.
It's really hard. It's really hard to not pretend to be what you think that person wants. But it is a waste of time, because inevitably you're eventually going to have to be yourself.
Right. And then where are you?
Yeah, you're stuck with your hope. It's like a coin flip whether that person's going to like the real you or not, because they fell in love with somebody that you're not.
And are they going to just settle for you then, because now they're invested,
Yeah.
Or maybe that's what some people's hope is, that, well, I'll give them this, this fake me until I feel like I've got them hooked. And then once they're so invested in me, I can relax, and they'll settle for that because they've already got all this time invested in me. So
yeah, or you got married and you have all these possessions together,
yes,
and you don't want to, separate them. Because my only divorce, I left with a box of stuff that's about this half the size of this table. And that's
Right.
all I had, and that's a pretty crappy feeling. And then I'm in my mid 20s, late 20s, and I've got a TV sitting on a trash can inside
Right.
an empty room with so little things inside this house that you could hear your voice echo.
Right.
That's a terrible feeling, but guess who did that? Me.
Right.
From not being strong in the beginning, because you may wait a year before you find someone that's interested in you. And if that person isn't the right one, you may be waiting another year,
That's right. It kind of takes me back to my mongoose story that I did on my TikTok that, if it's worth having, it's worth waiting for.
Yep.
So you can't just, the first person that comes along that shows they're interested, you can't just be like, give it to me, I'll take you.
And
this will work.
It's very rare, and I don't know if I could even name one off the top of my head that it works in the beginning. Like the first one you find, like it's probably, I don't know if it exists, but if it does, it's rare. It's like winning the lottery, I'm assuming. So anyway, so you got any housekeeping, anything you want to tell people about the show or the emails or anything?
I was going to bring up Zach again, Zach M. I talked to him. I talk to him through text almost every day, but a couple of days ago, talked to him on the phone. Still sounds real upbeat and positive. He did say that he would come on and talk to us for just a little bit next week. So next week's episode, we'll get a little bit more of an update from him. So I'm not going to give too much other than things are looking good for him.
Yeah, don't tell me too much because I'm excited to hear from him too. So he's coming on the show next week.
Yes.
All right. I'm excited about that, so we won't talk about it too much. We're excited to hear from you, Zach. I know I've had a few people comment on the Broke Ride Media TikTok page saying that they're excited about Zach, or he's the one that brought him to the show. So,
right.
Zach, you're inspiring a lot of the listeners to be better and want to help people, and because they see it works. So, good job, buddy.
And we sure do need some more emails. I mean, we're getting some, but it's slowed down a little bit. So if you'd like to talk to me on the podcast, or if you just want a question answered, we don't have to say your name. Even if you talk to me, we don't have to say your name. But the email is thestraightshootershow@gmail.com. And I'll be looking forward to talking to you. So send me an email.
Yeah, and if you send an email, we're most likely going to do something with it. Like you have a 99.9999% chance of us doing something with it. So the email is the way to get a hold of us. Michelle, I just wanted to let you know that we are going to get to your email. It's just a lot to process. You put a lot in there, and so we're just taking some time with it, but we are going to get to you. So, okay, you ready for some questions?
Let's see what you got.
Okay. Just like the title of last week's episode, a whole lot of anonymous going on around here.
Right.
We still got a whole lot of anonymous going on around
That's
here.
no problem.
That's hard to say multiple times in a row. Whole lot of anonymous going on here. Okay. All right, this is from Anonymous LOL. What's your opinion on boys, girls night out during a relationship? That seems to be a big deal in mine.
Yeah, I mean, I've done several videos on that topic, and it's kind of split on how people feel about that. So, just how I feel about it is this: I don't see how a lot of value can come out of people that are in a relationship or married. I don't see how a lot of value can come out of consistently, regularly going out to the club without your spouse. If a girl needs girl time, great. Go shopping, go to lunch, go spend time at your girlfriend's house, go to the swimming pool, whatever. But going to a club where, there's a lot of men there on the prowl. You may be trustworthy 1,000%, but why put yourself in that situation? And where alcohol is involved, where it can distort people's thinking. So I just don't see it. Plus, if somebody makes an accusation, somebody says, I saw your wife dancing with this guy. Maybe you didn't. But somebody tells your husband that, it's going to put some doubt in his mind. And same goes for guys. I just don't see the point in going to the club without your spouse. I mean, if you just want to go drink with your husband or your wife or whatever. So I'm all for women having women time and guys having guy time. I'm all for women going out to dinner or lunch with their girlfriends, but I just don't see how a lot of value can come from going to the club without your significant other.
I can't think of one good thing that could come from it. I think you should be able to go hang out with your friends, but whenever you're getting alcohol involved, like you said, I like that, but because like I trust my wife more than anything. But if somebody came up to me and she had put herself in a position to where she was at a club drinking and somebody came up to me and said, man, I saw your wife grinding on somebody last night, and me knowing my wife, I would know that is most likely not true, but there would still be a seed planted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas if she had never put herself in that position, I could be like, bullshit, buddy. Like she doesn't drink and she doesn't go out without me. She respects our relationship.
Yeah.
It's about respect at the end of the day, right?
Right. And I'm not going to say that, like me and my ex-wife, I'm not going to say we never, ever went out to the bar without each other. It was rare. It was very rare, but it was usually it was an event. You know, it was a birthday party that was celebrated at this bar. She couldn't be there or I couldn't be there for whatever reason. But I can only think of one time that, you know, I was crawling in bed and I get a text from a friend that I hadn't seen in a long time. And he's like, hey, we're going to this bar right down the road from where you live. Come have a beer with us. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I told her about it and she's like, well, I'm not getting up, but you go have fun. Go have a beer.
Yeah.
And I did.
But you offered her to go?
Of course.
Yeah.
She knew the people too.
I think that's huge too. Like if you're going to go out and then you make your significant other feel like they're not allowed to go, then that's probably going to raise some suspicion. But if you're like, hey, get up, let's go. And she's like, you know what? You just go. That might be a little different too.
That's one other thing too. While I'm thinking about it, I have heard people say, well, it's primarily women, I like to go dance. I want to go dance with my girlfriends, and my husband just doesn't like to go to the bar. He doesn't like to go to the club, so I go without him. And look, if that works for y'all, then it works for y'all. I don't understand that either, because even if I'm not into the club scene and my wife wants to go dance, I'm going to go have a water and watch my wife dance. I'm going to enjoy watching her dance and being around her. So if your husband just doesn't want to go because he doesn't like the bar scene, then I'm sorry.
Yeah, that wouldn't make me comfortable, my wife going and dancing with other people. Even if she enjoyed it, I would take her. You know what I mean? I would probably just learn how to dance and go make my wife happy. You know what I mean? Even if I didn't enjoy it, I'm sorry, but marriage is sometimes doing stuff you don't enjoy to make your partner happy.
A lot of times it is.
Yeah. So.
And it should go both directions.
Learn how to dance, even if you step on her toes a couple times, you know?
Right.
You might not get anything at the end of the night. You step on her toes enough times, but you know what I mean? All right. Question number 2. Would it bother you if your fiance goes irate when you look at her phone? I also pay for her phone. I do trust her, but it kind of makes me suspicious. And that is anonymous number 2.
My question would be, why, if you trust her, are you needing to or wanting to look at her phone? I mean, it's kind of a private, deal. I mean, and paying for her phone has zero to do with whether you have a right to look at her phone or not. I would not have a problem with my significant other looking at my phone. When I was married, if she asked to see my phone, she wasn't going and digging, but primarily maybe hers was on the charger, and she's like, hey, let me see your phone, and I would just hand it to her. She'd do whatever she needed to do, and she'd give it back. It's not a big deal. But if she was to sit there and dig through my phone, especially if it happened more than once, I wouldn't get irate, but I'd probably want out of that marriage. I mean, I would have a very serious talk with her about, look, I've done nothing to warrant you needing to go through my phone. I have done nothing to give you reason for doubt or suspicion. So why do you need to go through my phone? Why do you not trust me any more than that? So something has apparently happened for you to feel the need to go through her phone. And if it hasn't happened, then don't go through her phone. I mean, leave her phone alone. And if something has happened, then communicate that to her and say, well, look, you did this, or you went here, and I don't know where you were at this time, and your story didn't add up, and I want to believe you. So can we just verify it and then done? I mean, that still may piss her off, but at least you've got a valid reason for why you need to get a peace of mind, by looking at her phone, but certainly wouldn't make it a regular thing.
Call that show Cheaters and see if they'll look into it.
Don't do that.
No. Is that show even still around?
I don't know.
I think that's a great idea. Call the show Cheaters, dude, and see if they can look into it for you.
If I ever get to a point where I feel like I need to call the show Cheaters,
I'll
just get out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go that far.
Have you ever seen an episode where like they looked into it and the person wasn't cheating,
I've never seen that. That wouldn't make for very good TV, I don't think.
No, they probably did find some people that weren't cheating and they cut it out. But so for me, I've never looked through my wife's phone. Like if my wife ever asked to look through my phone, it wouldn't bug me at all. In fact, I would like for if she got in there and found nothing, I would like that I would feel confident that she could trust me going forward. But for example, we've been together for years now and she's never done that. If she starts going through my phone frequently now, that's going to spur up a little red flag in my head about her. Why all of a sudden are you insecure? Because it is true, because I've cheated and been the insecure one before, not with my wife now, but when I was younger. And when a person's newly insecure, I mean, that person might have an idea of why to be insecure because they're doing it. Mm-hmm. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah. I will admit that I have gone through a woman's phone before because I had reason to. I mean, I had suspicions and there was stuff there.
Every time I've went through a woman's phone and had suspicion, there's been something there.
Yeah.
And
so I'm to the point now that, I'm not going to go through another woman's phone.
No, me neither.
I'm just done with that. If I feel like I have to go through her phone, I probably just won't stay.
Yeah.
In that relationship.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing too with me is I'm a little older now and I've been through the mill with the relationships, and any sign of anything, I'm just done. I'm just going to be done. And she knows that. And then she has expectations of me too, because she's a little older now too. And we have these boundaries, and do not cross those boundaries, because neither one of us are weak. And we know that if you cross those boundaries, we're done. Both of us, you know. So we know what we need to do to stay together, and that's what we do.
Right.
So really what you're saying about this guy at the end of the day is you wouldn't recommend doing it, but something is causing it. So it's really kind of up to him, I don't know.
Well, he's saying, would you be, what would you do if she got irate? And I'm giving the reasons. I don't blame her for getting irate if this is something that is happening on a consistent basis, or you're not giving her a valid reason for suspicion. In the message, he says he trusts her. If he trusts her, stop going through her phone.
I was in a relationship once where I tried to go through the woman's phone and she started calling me a psycho and everything. Turns out there was actually messages in there. Right. I mean, screaming at me. So I don't know. Because I've been through something personal like that with it, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that she's getting that mad about going through his phone.
Well,
it's weird.
It could be that she is so offended that I've given you no reason to suspect, and you were going to go through my personal,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she's vented to one of her girlfriends about something that happened with them too. And she doesn't really want him to read that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because I could see where that would be too, because I'm sitting there putting myself in that position too now. The other side, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. because I'm a good husband and I don't even talk to girls when my wife's not there and they're around at the gym or anywhere. I don't even I don't even say hi. I may smile and nod at them, but I work really hard to make sure that I don't cross any boundaries with my wife. And then if she started not trusting me all of a sudden, I may get a little upset about that. I don't know. I'm not going to scream at her, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. The screaming part, like her getting that mad about it, is a little strange to me. But I mean, we don't know though, do we?
We don't know for sure because we're not there. But
yeah,
again, we'll just sum it up. If she's not giving you reason for suspicion, leave her phone alone. And then she's not going to get irate. If she is giving you reason for suspicion and you do have some doubts, you communicate that to her and tell her, this is why I want to look at your phone so that we can rule that out and then it won't be brought up again.
Yeah, valid reasons. If you have valid reasons, then absolutely. So
if she still gets irate, if you give her valid reasons, then you just have to work through that, separately. But
all right. On to the phone calls. You ready to take a phone call?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm on to Isaac. He says he's divorced from nearly a 7-year marriage. Almost 1 year later, he's realized being friends with my kids' moms aren't possible. His ex-wife and him made it crystal clear that we don't like each other. She's kept 2 of my kids from me just because of her personal feelings and abandoned my oldest 4 times, yet have not taken responsibility. My middle son's mom is known for hopping from home to home and drugs while dating other men, while calling once a month just to let me know she's still around. My kids are still little. They have asked about their moms and refused to recognize them or speak to them. The moms refuse to put in the effort to be the mom I know they potentially could be while I offered them my home and family life before. I have avoided that offer since then, stopped communicating with them of all possibility. Many women have tried to be their mom, but I turned them down at the end of the day. All of what I said above is well documented under recorded record, and I feel I made the right decisions for me and my wife's kids' sake. My question is, how do I explain the truth to my kids and explain to them effectively that I will not treat them the way their mothers treated them, nor will I leave them? He says, thanks to the straight shooter for taking this call. So here we go, Isaac.
All right, Isaac. So he did read me the email. I am a little confused. I mean, I have the basis, but I need you to kind of go over a few of the.
Yes, sir.
Like, how many kids do you have living with you now?
2, my oldest and my middle son. I've had my middle son for 3 years, and I've had my oldest son for 6 years since he was 2 months old. So it's just basically been me and Sam, my oldest, from the beginning when he was born. Mm. So it's just been one of those things,
And are both these from the same mother or two different mothers?
2 different mothers, actually. Okay. I got in a relationship with my ex after, everything kind of went downhill. Mm. And we had a kid, and, she ended up in trouble as well. And, things like that happen all the time.
Right.
But if I just paid attention to the red flags, I probably would have avoided a lot of trouble. But I was too young to realize it.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to now know better and actually avoid the trouble now.
Okay.
But my question is, they're old enough now to start asking questions about their mothers.
Right.
And they started asking questions. And it broke my heart having to try to explain it in the most sensitive way. But yet, I don't know how to effectively explain to them what happened. And I know I can't give them the whole truth right now. But one day I'll have to tell them the whole complete truth. And I have to show them. But how do I explain to them that, hey, I'm still here, and I'm not going to treat you like your mothers did?
Okay.
Because I could see in their eyes they were heartbroken in certain case, but they were satisfied that I was there.
Sure, absolutely. And they're going to, if their mothers are not going to be active in their lives and they're just going to call occasionally, they are going to have issues from that going forward. Now, to what degree are those issues going to be? Is just going to be something that's going to develop over time. The more supportive that you can be now, which it sounds like you're trying to do anyway, and even by having this conversation with me, I think can limit it's still going to affect them. I mean, there's no doubt it's going to affect them because they're going to be missing that part of their life. However, you're right. You don't need to tell them everything right now. I mean, even when they get to be 17 or 18, they may not really necessarily need to know everything then. I would certainly avoid talking down or any kind of negativity about their moms to them, because they'll know when they get old, as they grow, they'll see who was taking care of them and who wasn't. So there's really no need to make them feel worse about their mothers than they already might feel. So I definitely wouldn't talk down about them. And as far as letting them know that, you are going to never do that to them, that's the constant communication. Be willing and open to talk to them every time that they have questions. If they have questions that seem serious to you, try to stop whatever you're doing. I mean, if you're doing the dishes, stop doing the dishes. Give them your undivided attention and let them talk to you. And be honest with them. I mean, if they say, why is my mom choose this over me? You don't really know. I mean, you don't have an answer for that. You don't know why she did that. You're not her. And I would say that. I don't know why she has made the choices that she's made. I can't control her. I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer why she's doing this or why she's done that, but I don't know why she did. But I know I can control myself, and I know what my priority is, and you are my priority. And so by telling them that over and over, and that you are there for them and that you will always look out for them when they're asking, I mean, I don't think you need to go out of your way to tell them, because you're showing them already on a daily basis that you're there for them. So when they ask questions, that's when you reinforce, look, I don't have the answer for why your mom's doing this, but I know who I am. I'm your dad. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm going to be here for you, today, tomorrow, and from now on.
Yes, sir. And, and it really truly did break my heart. And it really did bring me to tears, try to explain to them. I really tried my best. And because when I read books about moms and when I read books about things, I try to avoid that, because I know in the back of their mind, they're thinking, where's mom?
Right.
I could just see that in their eyes.
I'm sure.
When they're reading it. But I don't want to discourage them to tell them, like, yeah, your moms are, I'm sorry, son, but don't, I don't want to discourage them from telling them that, there's other moms out there that are great moms. I don't want to discourage that. I don't want them to hate the opposite sex, if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Right.
Because of the past, if you kind of understand what I'm trying to get. And I want to effectively explain that and encourage them to have faith that they're going to recover. They're going to go forward in life.
Right. I understand.
But it's really hard to do that whenever they start asking questions and you thought you was prepared for it, but you're really not,
Right. Well, look for some comparisons, that you can make to them, to show them that not all women are the same, just like not all men are the same, and that
yes, sir.
That you give the benefit of the doubt to anybody until they, prove over a series of time otherwise. I'm trying to think right off the top of my head some examples that you can use where you can point out, these are the same thing. This may I don't know why I always go to food, but I do for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because I like to eat so much, but and this may not be the best one. It's the first one that came to mind. But as small as they are, you could even go as far as saying when you eat a hamburger and then you make tacos, you could be like, this is the same, this hamburger meat. But even though it's hamburger meat, you're eating a hamburger right now. And the other night we had hamburger meat, but it was tacos. It's not the same. It's the same thing, but it's not the same. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
I'm going to try to look for a better, while we're talking, I'm going to be thinking of a better comparison that you can give them. But I understand what you're saying. And they do need to know that not everybody's the same. Not everybody is going to let them down. While I'm thinking about it, before we get too far away, I would also, you said that, the mom calls like once a month to let you know that she's around. I would not discourage if mom wants to pop in. I would even encourage mom to come by and see the kids, each one of them, both of them, to come see their individual child. You don't have to let them take her or let her take them with her, but give them a few hours at least. Even if you step outside, or, give them a little bit of, I don't know your exes. I don't know if you need to be present. If you feel like you do, then be present. But if you don't feel like that's necessary, maybe step outside and let them spend some time if they're willing to do that. But I would encourage them when they do call. Your son really would like to see you. Your son needs to see you. Because I think that if they ever feel like you discouraged it or kept them from their mom, then they're going to have some feelings towards you, And if you get, as they grow, if they see that you encouraged it and you tried to get them together as often as you could, then that's just brownie points for dad. They're going to know that you were really looking out for them and trying to help them as much as you could.
And I have tried. I've tried. My oldest mother basically left and has not returned and then made no effort. And, well, it's been 3 years now, almost 4. And at one point, she had an opportunity to go approach him, and she didn't. She didn't even try. And I told her, it's not my fault that you didn't.
Yeah.
And my middle son, I offered the chance for her. I don't feel safe with where she's at, and I don't know who she's around. So I tell her, come to my home and visit.
Right.
And, well, she doesn't make it opportune time to do so. Yet she calls every so often just to let me know she's around.
Right.
And he just utterly refuses to speak to her. I mean, all I can do is try.
He won't talk to his mom on the phone?
No.
And how old is he?
He's 5.
There's no woman in the picture now? You're not with a woman? No woman living with you?
No, sir. I've been divorced for almost a year.
And I know in your email you said that there's been several women that have wanted to step in as mom. Is being with how old are you?
I'm 32. There's other women that's tried that's not even tried to be anything with me, but tried to be there for them, and they just done the same thing and just walked off. And I discouraged that. I said, look, if you're going to do this, you can't do that. They've already had heartbreak already. They don't need to have other women walking away.
So other women have tried to step in to be a mother figure and then walked away?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. How long has it been since
I just told them to leave.
How long has it been since your son has talked to his mom on the phone or seen her?
Well, it's been at least over a month or so, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And she didn't look too healthy, and she she acted like something was wrong with me, and got to the point she was paranoid, and she just looked like she was trying to find something against me. And I was looking like, okay, that's enough. I can't have that. I can't have that. Somebody just looking over trying to find something.
You mean when she was still living there, or a month ago?
When she was over, when she was talking over a duo or a video call.
I got you.
And basically, she explained that, I just don't think you're doing a good job. And and I've had him for 3 years.
Right.
And she's always told me I've done a great job, but something changed, and I don't know what happened. After that, I just felt so much at peace and trying to keep away from her as much as possible, because I just didn't feel too safe with her even looking after that.
Do you have a court-ordered custody?
Yeah.
You do? And she doesn't have a residence right now, right? She's staying with different people?
Well, she does. She hops from home to home, and
so she doesn't have her own residence.
Dates other boys in other places, and I'm just my middle son here, and honestly, in all honesty, I really did try to give her opportunities. I offered my home and family to her many times over, and she just refused it. And I gave up after that.
Well, so, I mean, the fact that she doesn't have a permanent residence, and that you've had the kids for as long as you have, even if she is, looking for an opportunity, she wouldn't really have an opportunity in court. When you have, if you have a stable residence, you've had them for as long as you have, it would take an awful lot for her to take the boys away from you. So with that, the reason I'm talking about that is because I would still, even because I'm hearing you say that, well, I don't really trust her because she looks like she's looking for a reason, something bad going on over here. And so I feel like that might have you like, well, I don't really want her around, or I don't want her calling because I don't want the drama, or I don't want her. But I still would encourage, if she is willing to, come by and see her son. Yeah. Because I understand. He needs that, I know. Even if he won't talk to her on the phone, he's 5. He probably doesn't want to talk on the phone much to anybody, but if if she would come by and spend a few hours with him, even if it was once a month, or every few weeks, at least he would have that interaction with her. And hopefully she would be willing to come by and get down on the floor and play, whatever he plays, so they actually have that bonding time together.
I've encouraged it. I really have, but it's really tough because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just inconsistent, if you kind of get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do.
It's all it's been. It's inconsistent.
I understand.
And kids need stability and a consistent people in their life. And I've tried encouraging that the best I know how, but I'm to that point to where I don't really know what else to do. I just don't know.
Well,
I'm at that point.
I agree with you that kids need stability, which you sound like you are providing that stability. And some people may disagree with me and say that, you shouldn't be encouraging her to see them. But from what I have always read and my understanding of these types of situations, it is best to encourage it as much as possible. If the other parent is, she shows up on drugs or, alcohol, smells like alcohol, then that's a different situation. But if she wants to show up, if you can get her to show up once a month and spend a couple of hours with him, as long as she's sober and everything, he will be better off having the little time that he has than his mother never seeing him.
I understand. You're absolutely right. I understand. And but it's just I'm at that point. And like I said, he needs it. It seems like she don't want to always give it. Then it turns around, and then changes her mind. It's like I don't know how to explain that. It's really hard to explain it. I don't know what words to put it in, to be honest.
So she'll say she wants to see him, but then she doesn't show up, or she...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. She says it, and then she don't show up.
So don't tell him when she's coming, so that he's not disappointed or let down. Okay, well, then you may have to deal with that, and it may be frustrating for you, as the adult, and I get that, but that's something that it sounds to me like you're going to have to deal with and cope with in the circumstances that you're in. And it sucks. Yes, it sucks, but it just sounds like that's something that you may have to deal with, for several years to come, possibly. But again, if you are always considering what's best for your kids, then you have to take any feelings you have toward her or toward how many times she disappoints you by not showing up. Mm-hmm. Again, I know that sucks, but your son doesn't have to know that she missed the last 5 times she said she was going to show up. But the one time that she does show up, he'll know because she's there. And
yes, sir, you're right.
That will help him. He's going to know. Your son's going to know when he gets older. And, maybe when he's a full adult, in conversation, in passing, you may mention to him, there was countless times that I set things up and she just didn't show up for whatever reason. But I just am a firm believer in not talking down about the ex, about the mother of your children, regardless of what the circumstances are, because if you're there for them, they're going to know you're there for them. They're always going to know that you were there for them. So it doesn't really matter if the mom didn't do everything she was supposed to do. So that's how I see it.
You're absolutely right. I'm trying my best, like I said, but I just want them to be happy. And they are 2 happy boys. They really are. They love their life as it is right now. Mm-hmm. What's missing is they don't always realize it's missing. I mean, they're frankly oblivious to it right now in a lot of ways, yet they start asking questions. But they're beginning to, but later on when they get older, I will have to explain the whole story to them, most likely. I mean, when they ask, I will tell them, but I just can't tell them the whole story now.
Yeah. You don't even have to tell them the whole story. The whole story. Something I always tell my son, don't ever lie, but there's a difference between telling the truth and the whole truth. So yep. When I say that to my son, I am telling him, I want you to be honest, and I want you to, if somebody asks you a direct question, you tell them the truth, that this is how things went down or this is what happened. But if you don't have to tell somebody the play-by-play on what happened, don't. I mean, it may not be necessary. But that's something you can have to decide on your own for when they get older.
Yes, sir.
But I will tell you this: I know how hard it is to be a single dad. I want you to know that it sounds to me like you are doing everything in your power to provide them a stable environment, a stable home, and kudos to you for stepping up for your kids and trying to do what's right, and for reaching out to me. And don't stop with me. I mean, continue to try to research and read, look for articles on, single dads and, missing, mothers that have abandoned their kids. Read as much as you can on that stuff so that you can get more in-depth knowledge. Maybe I said something that can help you, but maybe you can go read an article this afternoon that will help you that much more. Or, next week you'll read something and it'll be like the light bulb will go off to help you deal through the process. I really like to read a lot so that I can get various points of view on situations. So I would encourage you to spend time, really researching, effects of a child on a child from an abandoned mother. Put in stuff like that and just read up on it as much as you can.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for taking my call. Thank you for helping out. You have helped me with your words. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Well,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on the show, and maybe somebody listening will get something out of this call too. And I guarantee you, people hearing your story on this podcast, you're going to have people praying for you and your situation and your
Thank
boys.
you.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Go take care of them boys, and y'all enjoy the rest of your week.
You as well.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tough one, huh?
Yeah, it was a little teary-eyed, a little bit.
I guess we don't take easy calls here. Everybody that calls in is going through a real rough time. But I like what you said about joining Facebook groups and looking into it, because it doesn't sound like it's going to get any easier.
Right.
Now, I will tell you, because I've been a single dad, as you know, and the mother wasn't present for a few years. I think it was a couple years. And what I did during that time is the girls were young and they started to grow a little older, and I do not lie to my kids. Their questions were very non-sophisticated when they were younger,
right.
And I would answer their questions honestly. Where's mommy? When's the next time I'm going to see mommy? And I would just shoot them straight. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I wish I could. I know it's hard. Why don't you come sit down with me for a little bit?
Right.
Because I know they're sad, and I'd let them hug me. If they wanted to cry, they could cry. Mm-hmm. I was just there every time, but I would shoot them straight. I don't know. And then it got to, why is mommy gone? Why is mommy gone?
Yeah.
And be like, listen, adults go through hard times sometimes. It has nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong, but I assure you that this is going to go away sometimes. And then I would go in the other room, I'd pick up the phone and I'd call her and I'd say, you need to get your shit together. These girls need you. I can't do this by myself. Get your shit together. You have no idea how bad these girls are hurting. And I'd be pissed because I had to be there when they were hurting. And she would always tell me, I would tell her, I would just beg her, stop.
Right.
Stop hurting these girls. Stop, please. And she would tell me, she'd be like, I promise I'm going to get out of this. And I always trusted her to do that. And she finally did. And then they got a little older to where they're like, hey, I know mom's been back in our life a little bit, but I heard she was doing this and doing this. Is that true? And I'd be like, yes, it is true. It was true. But she's not doing that anymore. And if I were you, in my personal opinion, I don't think you should be mad at her for that, because when you grow up, you're going to see how hard it is to be an adult. And it's very tough being an adult. Now, I don't want to condone what she did in any way, shape, or form, but she did it. And not many people fight their way out of what your mom fought her way out of. And she did that for you. And now she's here and she's never going away again. You know, I've just shot him straight the whole time. You know, just as honest as I could be. But I waited for them to come to me for it. I never went to them and just offered information to them, but I wouldn't lie if they came to me. And that seemed to work out really well with me. Mom's back in the picture now, and there's no resentment or hard feelings between anybody. We all have a great relationship.
Right. Well, I definitely believe in being honest with them. 100% be honest. And as long as the other parent is sober, you know, when they are showing up, I encourage the other parent to come see their kids. Yeah. You know,
she did. I don't know if she was sober when she would come to visit them, but as long as I was there, I was, and I could monitor everything that was going on, then I was just grateful that she would come and see them. But that was a requirement for a while, that this happened here with me here. Like, if you wanted to see him, this was the time that I was going to be home, and this is what time you came here. And she did. She would come see him every, once a month, once every couple months or something. Yeah. But I don't know if she was so, like, because I had a hard time with the drug of choice. So I don't know. I'm sure sometimes she wasn't, but as long as I could control what was going on, then I was okay with it. I was just grateful she was there.
I helped raise 3 stepsons, and one of them had a dad he lived with his dad most of the time. And then the next 2, the next one, the middle one, he never had a dad till me. And he was 6 when I came into the picture. And then his little brother was 3 when I came into the picture, and never had a dad until he was 7, and his dad showed up and decided he wanted to become dad all of a sudden. Which his older brother, who by this time was 10, already was having issues with he welcomed me as his dad. He accepted me as his dad, but still, why my real dad? What about my real dad? How come he didn't want me? How come he's not here? How come? And it was very, very difficult for us to talk to him about that. And we didn't have answers for him why his dad made the choices, his biological dad made the choices that he made. But when his little brother's dad showed up and wanted to all of a sudden be in his life, can you imagine how devastating that was for him at 10? Okay, so my little brother's dad, here's his,
God, yeah. So they had different dads.
Yes.
Man.
And so my dad still, I'm 10, my dad still, no sign of my dad. It was it was hard. It was just such a horrible, hard time for everybody, because I was losing one of my boys, to a degree, because his biological dad, and of course he wants to know his biological dad. And it started out as, where he could only have visitations if we were there, and then it turned into over weekend, and he wanted to be dad, but then the first time a medical bill came in, he refused to pay his portion of the medical bill. Had to take him back to court to get him to pay his percentage. Yeah. I'm like, I've been paying this for years, dude. I'm just asking you to pay your percentage. If you want to be dad, let's pay your percentage.
Trey came on and he talked about him having a step kid that he doesn't talk to anymore. That's got to be hard for you too, huh? Do you still talk to him?
I don't talk to the youngest one at all, the one that got his biological dad back. Mm-hmm. The next one up, we don't talk that often, and he only lives 2 miles from me. Yeah, I went to his wedding. I went to his high school graduation.
Oh, nice.
He would reach out to me before he got married. He was looking to buy a house, and he was wanting, some guidance on, what do you think about this house or that house, and what do you think about this financing? But he's really a great kid that has, given his circumstances. I mean, he owns a house. He has learned to work on vehicles by himself, for the most part. Yeah. And he's a go-getter, and he's done well for himself, you know.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that you could do if there's a kid, because you got to think of it this way. You could have both your parents and still wonder why my parents don't love me, because they treat you like shit, or they just don't care about you. Yeah. Maybe they're in the house and all they do is spend time in their bedroom. That kid could feel that way. Yeah. And the best thing that anybody could do, because I remember growing up and everyone's parents treated their kids differently than they did me. And I'm like, man, why don't mine treat me like that, And the best thing that somebody could say is, your parents are in the wrong, not you. You did nothing wrong. You can be great. Instead of it taking me 30 years to figure out how to be a decent parent, a decent human being on my own, you know? It's up to you have to teach your kids to be a good parent. Yeah. To be a good person, to be everything. The parent has to teach that. And if you don't give a shit, you're causing all sorts of damage to that kid, even if you're there. Yeah. And the best thing to do, if you catch a kid, you see a kid that is going through something like that is to let them know that it's not their fault. I'm sorry you're going through that. I can't do anything to change it, but it's not your fault.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. So we're going to have to wrap up this show. I mean, I could talk for a couple more hours, but we got to save something for next week, right? So anyways, so we led the show off with always be preparing yourself to be a spouse. Give your significant other what you are, not promise what you're going to be. And don't be going through your significant other's phone. Leave their phone alone. And if you have suspicions about something, you need to talk to them about those and not just go through their phone. And for anybody else that's dealing with the same issue like Isaac, whether you're the single dad or the single mom, make sure your kids know it's not their fault that the other parent is not active, and that, you're going to be there for them. I mean, each time they ask, well, you don't have to worry about me because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here for you, and I'm looking out for your best interest always. So just keep doing the best that you can for those people out there fighting that battle. I know it's not easy, and I commend every one of you, moms and dads. And you may not always agree with everything that I say here, but one thing's for sure, I'm always going to shoot you straight.
You have been listening to The Straight Shooter Show. Come back every Wednesday for new episodes.